Hey foam fans, James here with Laughing Dragon Foundries. We are actually going to be unboxing a new tool today. Let's get rolling, shall we? Here it is. Here it is. For some of you who have asked me in the past what the Ryobi tool line does for me as it relates to the things that I build and do, hopefully this one's a little bit more obvious. Let me just lead off by saying I do use Dremel tools as well. Nothing against them at all. I've used Dremel tools for like 30 years building stuff. Everything from airplanes to sculptures to more recently, Iron Man suits and Tenya Ida suits and Pacific Rim suits and Halo suits and reverse bear trap masks, Thor suits, etc. Anyway, very handy. Just recently switched to, I've always used a corded Dremel. Just recently have switched over to a battery version. Great little tool. Again, no complaints about it here. I think this thing hits up to 30,000 RPMs. It's got a nice little removable chuck up here that you can use to change the bits and whatnot. The only problem, the biggest problem that I have in using this is the weight. This thing it's got a little bit of heft to it, okay? And when you're doing precision work, you have a tendency to want, if you're an artist, as myself, or a creative, you have a tendency to want to hold these things like a pencil. Okay, so get a little bit tighter into certain, into spaces and carve out pieces. Well, when you're fighting the weight, it has a tendency to jump around on you, unless you're really, two or single-handed and put some power to it. But then you don't have the finesse as you're working with whatever it is that you're building. So when I heard that Ryobi was coming out with this baby, which is it's a shaft drive, so the unit sits on your table, and then there's a flex shaft that runs from it and then powers this the rotary, the handheld portion, the tool part of it. I was pretty excited, as you could probably imagine, because again, haven't used one yet, but I'm assuming that this is really going to lighten up how this feels in your hand and give you a lot more freedom when it comes to doing that, especially the precision work. So let's go ahead and unbox it and see what we got. Alrighty. Well, I was pulling out my knife to unbox it, but it looks like it's not taped shut. It looks like it's glued shut. So we'll go the ungluing route. Alright, looks like we've got a little case here with the bits and all the different attachments, which is kind of cool. It says Ryobi. Alright. Anybody know what we do with these? Excellent. Good call. Good call. Alright. Okay, empty box. There is the flex shaft that I was telling you about, and I gotta say, already pretty excited. Look at the size of this thing. I'm going to take the, obviously this is the mounting clip here. I'm going to turn the light so you can see it a little better. Mounting clip. Look at the size. Look at the size of this. It's pencil. It's like a fat pen or a soldering iron, which we have the Ryobi soldering station. It's got kind of that same feel to it. Alrighty. Pop this thing out of the bag. Alright, pretty straightforward. So we've got a power switch here on the front, as you can see. Let me pop this light up so you can see a little better. Alright, so we got a power switch over here on the side, and then looks like a revolutions or an RPM manager here. Basically a potentiometer. You can obviously increase or decrease the amount of RPMs that this baby's spinning. Across the top here, it looks like a little quick storage area for the attachments. Obviously back here is the battery plug-in. I was asked if this was a hybrid, and it is not. It is just battery powered. But I don't think Ryobi's really let us down as it relates to battery power, so we will move on from there. Alright, So it looks like we just attach the shaft here. Screw connector. Try not to drop it too much before we actually use it. And of course, probably lining up with the shaft is not a bad idea. I'm going to put this down here on the table. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right. Obviously, this goes over here. I'm thinking we can just store it like this. And now we're ready for an attachment. So let's go ahead and pick one here. I'm going to do, and I'm assuming that we could probably use Dremel attachments on this as well. First, and lock that down. And then we can tighten the drum. And there's a little slide switch here on the handle to lock the shaft. You hold it, and then it locks the shaft so you can actually tighten this. And yeah, I'm going to stick the wrench right in here where it goes. Looks like it just sticks right in there, doesn't it? Cool. And this is kind of a rubberized cushioned piece here, so you don't have to really stick it in very far. You just stick it in right there and it holds it right in place. All right, so anywho, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap foam here. All right, got a 6 amp hour battery here. We're going to go ahead and put that baby in. There we go. All right. So battery's in. We'll switch it on. Does a really great job. I really like, again, the precision that we get from having this small handle. I can't even begin to tell you how many ways this is going to come in handy. Again, working in tight spaces and being able to move fluidly with what it is that we're trying to do, and not being encumbered by the weight of the tool itself. I'm going to close you a minute. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more work here on this piece. We'll crank it up about 2/3. It's got a little bit of noise to it, but most of these tools do, so that doesn't really surprise or disappoint me. I can still talk over it while I'm using it, so it's not too terribly loud. But this is amazing. Having this fingertip control and not worrying about the weight of the tool. I mean, it's not jumping and skipping around, because I can use other parts of my hand to brace myself against the piece as well. So when the torque kicks in, we have no problems whatsoever. Awesome. And there's just an example. A little bit of an example of what, obviously, what we use this for. Creating stuff. Yeah! A little dusty. I can see this coming in really handy for all types of artists, craftsmen, sculptors, craftspeople, sculptors, you know, anybody that wants, again, to work with a rotary tool and not carry all of the weight of the actual tool in their hand. Now, the limitation obviously is you have this flex shaft. It's about 24 or 30 inches long at most. Again, to me, not really a limitation. this is again really just a quality. It's a quality tool, and I really like it. So I think I'll keep it. Wait, I bought it. Of course I'm going to keep it. As usual, this is James with Laughing Dragon Foundries. Subscribe, hang out, tell your family, tell your friends. We're here to help you. Any way that we can help you by showing you, obviously, the tools that we use and the techniques. We can help you along your way to building quality costumes and anything else that it is that you're trying to build out of the foam and resin and 3D printed materials, and cloth. We do sewing now too. How about that? We do have an Etsy store. Go ahead and search LD Foundry, singular, so it's not LD Laughing Dragon Foundries, it's just LD Foundry on Etsy. And again, as always, keep your glue hot and your hopes high. This is James with Laughing Dragon Foundries. We'll see you next time.